Hello, welcome to week 3 of inventory. It's hard to believe we already got to the third week. Seems like we just started yesterday, but however, we are nearing the midpoint of this 8-week journey, and I'm excited, and I hope that you are enjoying the class so far. Want to start out with just a few reminders for you all as we head into this week. So, as you know, week 3 assignments for chapter 3 have opened. From here on out, we're going back to the schedule of opening on Monday at 12:30 a.m. and then the assignments will close 11:59 on Sunday night, the following Sunday night. So this will be the drill for each week towards the end of the class. I do want y'all to be aware that tonight at 8 p.m. I'll be having a special Blackboard chat session with you all. I have sent an email to everyone's in-course Blackboard email with the link. If you cannot join us at 8 p.m., do not worry. I will record that session and send it back out to you all to view on your own time. We are going to discuss the situational business report as well as any other topics or concerns. I also want to start out this week to just give you a special notice. If you are behind on Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I don't want you to be alarmed with that. I understand our snow day as well as getting used to a web class and a class starting on the middle of the week. That can sometimes set a student back a little ways. So I'm going to go ahead and give you all an extension on Chapters 1 and 2 if you have not done it. If you have not taken your quizzes or done any of the homework, you have until next Wednesday, January 31st, to make that up. So that way you can get a stronger start in this course. It's a very short course. It is one where we cannot stretch it out over 16 weeks. If you're not understanding the content or assignment isn't working, then getting in touch immediately with your instructor is the protocol that you need to follow. If you choose not to do that, then that will result in your grade. So therefore, I want you to keep that in mind. If you have any troubleshooting issues, you can contact me or Melanie Dillard at melanie.dillard@uacch.edu. If you go into under the quick links of our UACCH website, you also can find a Blackboard help and support where you can submit a help ticket. If there's something technical that goes on, they can help you with that as well. So just a few things to help you as you go along. As we look ahead, we are getting into Chapter 3 into master scheduling. And I wanted you all to be aware of that, again, as you log into Blackboard, there will be the weekly checklist is there with all the assignments. There's also, make sure that in your preparation folder, that's where you take your quiz and your discussion question, if there's a discussion question for that week. And then also in the weekly assignments folder is where you find how to upload your questions at the end of the chapter, and also any problems or case problems that I give to you all for those weeks. So just a little bit of reminder if you're still navigating around. So again, I hope you're enjoying the course. I'll be working on updating your coursework that you've turned in so far. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the chapter content for this week, master scheduling. As you all have gotten into and read the chapter, it talks all about how inventory and materials management affects the supply chain. And if you think back to your supply chain management class, if you had the opportunity to take that course, and if you haven't, you will next fall, it talks a little bit how supply chain management is affected by everything that goes on, from the trucks going down the highway, from the order takers, from the warehouse managers. And that's really where we're kind of focusing on is warehouse management, materials management, inventory control. Those are all the things that we are trying to learn to help us become better managers. Now, material requirements planning is what we have been harping on the last couple of chapters, and now we're getting into master scheduling. And as a couple of things I want y'all to think about, especially, we got to realize that now we are getting into the master production schedule, the MPS. That's the acronym you've got to remember. The master production schedule, or MPS, is that vital link that's in the production planning system. It forms the link between production planning and what manufacturers will actually build. It forms the basis for calculating the capacity and resources needed, and it drives the material requirements plan. and it keeps priorities valid. The MPS is a priority plan for manufacturing. So this chapter is going to be filled with several different MPS schedules that you will learn how to calculate and fill out. I have 3 videos in the preparation folder that goes over how to do those with different scenarios. The great thing about this textbook is that it gives you the answer so you can go back and figure out how you got to that answer. And you will have a couple of homework problems related to the MPS this week. But again, to me, it's a very easy thing to figure out and able to complete. If you have troubles, come by my office and I'll help you with it, or you can call me. I can talk it over with you on the phone. But again, there are several videos out there that shows how to complete that form, but it's pretty much simple addition and subtraction, and as well as filling in and forecasting. You're pretty much figuring how much you're going to need of a certain item on a certain week, and then you're projecting as the weeks go on. That is a simple explanation for what that is. But please do not hesitate to ask if you don't understand that. We can go over it together. I would love to be able to spend some time and do that as well. So please let me know. Some things I want y'all to think about as we talk about the MPS. The MPS is the plan of what is to be produced and when. That is the point blank explanation of that. And that's why the MPS form is so vital. Now, it's the basis for your sales and production team, and it determines what's to be manufactured, and it's not meant to be rigid. So there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some adjustments. You know that. With production and assembly, many different outside environmental factors, financial factors, those all can hurt your plan. You can come up with a perfect production plan, and then here comes, for example, you're in the government, and here comes a government shutdown, or here comes a snow day, and the parts can't get to the manufacturing plant to send to you, so you can send them to your customer. So those are things you've got to think about. So no production plan is perfect. It's not rigid. It's not meant to be rigid, because why? It is dealing with variables. So as we know, life every day can be very variable. It changes. And that's why your production plan is variable, because it is based on life. We know that. Now, there's some things that I want y'all to look at. As on page 42 and 43, there are some different production plans that you can see how they figured out with your aggregate forecasted, your different products, your production plan, your master schedule, and your inventory schedules. And there's a couple of example problems. There's one on page 43 that gives you the example problem, and it shows you the answer to the production plan and the master schedule. I really would suggest that you do that on a piece of paper just to practice, or also work it out on an Excel spreadsheet. This would be just something for you. Well, I usually do it on a piece of paper, and then I do it on an Excel spreadsheet just to pretty much get myself in practice of doing that plan. It's pretty simple. It's not complicated mathematical equations at all. So I hope I kind of have quelled that concern there. Now, the schedule have to be done so you can tell what you need to do next. Are you going to meet your production plan, or are you not? Okay. As we look at a couple of other things, when you're developing your master production schedule, you got to think about the objectives. And your objectives of your MPS is to maintain your desired level of customer service. You got to make the best use of the material that you have. And you got to make the use of your labor and your equipment, and also maintain your inventory investment at the required levels. And there's 3 steps that you need to take when you're preparing an MPS schedule. You've got to develop a preliminary one. You've got to check the preliminary MPS against the available capacity that you have. Remember, back to your material, laborers, and equipment, that's your capacity. And resolve differences between the preliminary MPS and the capacity availability. So those are the 3 things that you have to think about when you're doing your master production schedule. As 44 and 45 goes over a sample preliminary master production schedule, it pretty much tells you what your on-hand is. You got to figure out what your on-hand is in your lot size, and then you're able to figure out for each period how much you're going to have or how much is going to be produced based on that information. And that's your capacity. It really is. When we talk about rough cut capacity planning, that checks whether critical resources are available to support the preliminary master production or schedule. And that's where your resource bill comes into effect, okay? And it talks on page 45, there is a resource bill example that shows you for a desktop computer what all is involved in the desktop computer assembly. As we go in on page 47, it talks a little bit more about your resolution differences. That is the next step of your MPS. You got to think about your resource use, your customer service, and the cost. And this is where the master schedule decisions come in. You've got to base your MPS on make-to-stock products. Are these products going to be assembled based on what we have in stock? Or is it made to order? Or is it assembled to order? Or is it final assembly schedule? And the different MPS environments, there's actually a great little figure chart on page 47 in your text that shows the make-to-stock end product, that relationship. So as you go through, you're going to realize there's other things besides that. Also, the engineering to order, and that is kind of a form of make to order. Now, as you get into the planning horizon, I'm going to define that to you all really quickly. That planning horizon is your time span for which plans are made. And it has to cover a period of at least equal to the time required to accomplish the plan. And as we go on and look throughout the rest of this chapter, the production planning, the master scheduling, and sales, those are the sales forecast and the production plan, the master production schedule, and material requirements plan are all linked together. And it reconciles your total forecast demand with available resources. The MPS and delivery promise is pretty much what it says, delivery to promise. This is what we're going to be able to make and send to you. And they call it the ATP, which is available to promise, and you're using your MPS and your sales forecast and your distribution. And the ATP is also calculated by using scheduled receipts to the beginning inventory and then subtracting the actual orders before the next scheduled receipt. The ATP formula is listed on page 50 of your text, and there are several examples in your textbook where you can see how it has been worked. And again, you can work those for yourself. The great thing is you're able to see what the answer is, and then you're able to go back and see if you can get that answer. The projected available balance is also calculated in one of two ways. It depends on a period before and after the demand time fence. So we're getting into demand time fences. The PAB formula is on page 52. And then we're getting into time fences. And again, we're thinking about time fences in relation to what? Time. Changes to, but this is the change to your master production schedule. For example, that will change. If your customer cancels or changes the order, or if the machines break down, government shutdown, you have a bad weather, severe weather, suppliers have problems with mass delivery, or processes create more scrap than expected, then that is going to affect your time fences. And that also impacts your product structure. So you've got to think about that. You've got your items A, B, and C, D, and E, and each one of those have a relationship to a time fence. Finally, it goes into what they call zones. So when you think about your demand time fence, your due date, and your planning time fence, sometimes it can either be frozen, slushy, or liquid. The frozen zone is a capacity and materials are committed to specific orders, but changes would result in excessive cost and reduced manufacturing efficiency. The slushy zone, a capacity and materials are committed to less extents. That's where that is related to the planning time fence. And finally, the liquid zone is any change can be made to the MPS, and as long as it's within the limits set by the production plan. And error management can happen when there's errors in customers' orders occur all the time and require constant attention. And there's general types. Sometimes you get the wrong product. or specifications, you get the wrong amount, or you get the wrong shipping dates. And that happens a lot. So those are some things that you've got to take in consideration to the NPS. I hope you enjoy reading over this chapter and working over the problems. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you all in week 4.